Hello, everybody. This is Paul Dozier. It is Friday, April the 2nd, 2021. This is show number 5. And listen, I'm excited about this. I can't tell you how excited I am about this program. I've been working off and on doing this for a number of years. I went to radio and television broadcasting school in Huntington Beach, just to learn some things, and was actually accepted by KABC Radio to do a program and couldn't pull it off. Little did I know that we would be doing this right now. What a pleasure. My name is Paul C. Dozier. I am the guy that's hosting this show. And as you know, we're focused in on black-owned businesses right now. Now, I got to tell you, we're not always going to be focused in on black-owned businesses. But I have it in me to do this, focus in on black-owned businesses. And I'm trying to decide if I just want to take what I'm sharing here right now, because this is good stuff. You know, some of you guys don't realize it's good stuff, and that's why I have to ask you to pull up. You Christian folks, I got to tell you to pull out 2 Timothy 2:15. For you untrusting people. No, I'm just kidding. But for you other folks, listen. Research everything I say. Because if you're really interested in starting a business, you're going to find that I'm right the majority of the times, if not almost all the times. I'm trying to be conservative in that. But, see, the problem is we were not taught this language as we were coming up. The language of owning a business. If you listen to the children of the Amway family or the Walmart family and listen to how they speak, you'll know that they never had jobs because they weren't taught the language of jobs. Us average folks were taught the language of jobs. Now, if you've listened to a couple of these shows, you understand a job is employment and employment is slavery. You're going to hear that often from me, and you're not going to like it because some of you guys make $100 grand, $200 grand, $300, $400, $500,000 a year, and you think you're in good shape, except you wake up every day worried about something. I wonder why. Because you have jobs. You're under the taxation system, which is never good. Now, we didn't know that, but we were all born to be business owners, and not that you came here for this, but it was years ago. Ghana, Kenya, Congo, and in an area that we now call Africa. And again, I'm encouraging you, do your homework. I'm throwing all the words out there. And we've gotten away from the days of pencil and paper. I'm encouraging you to write stuff down. I'm asking you to check me. Now, you got to do a little bit more digging because they don't make it as apparent anymore on Google. you got to kind of dig. And we are talking about starting businesses. But again, I got to go all the way back here before I can even speak the language of business because you're not going to believe me or understand a word I say. That's why I do this. But back then, when a conglomerate or a collaborative group of European nations came onto the continent, and by the way, decided to call it Africa too. They took that out of the history, but that's why I say you got to do a little bit of digging. And they went into these different areas and they created these treaties. Now, any of you who have studied American history, you know that this same business model was specced out here in America as well. Capitalism and Slavery by Eric Williams. What a great book. Capitalism and Slavery. See, it's not a black, white, Asian thing. It's an economics thing. That's why we're talking economics today. Now, for you guys who think economics is finance, that's why we're doing this, because you think economics is finance. Economics is not finance. Finance is used in economics, but economics is not finance. Please share this video with some people. We want to help as many people as possible. Everybody didn't go to business school. And everyone's not going to walk away from a six-figure job like I did to study this stuff. Because I love you. So listen, the whole purpose of going in as a collaborative group of European countries was to try a few business models on the western side of Africa, northwest and southwest, all through Congo, all the way up through Ghana. I forget the name of those. You know, not so far east as Egypt, Morocco, not to start, not along the Silk Road, but west of that. So when they first got started, they went in with an economic idea. And they said that they were going to make agreements, but they didn't. They took the land. Then they created an economic system, a taxation system, so that the people can earn back their land. That's a job. That's what employment has gotten you. That's what employment is. Like it, love it, leave it, bore you, whatever, but you got to know the basics. I'm glad you're making $300,000-$400,000 a year, and I'm glad you have $2-3 million in the bank. But if you're okay, I can't go there. I'm happy for you. But we're talking about a legacy. We're talking about changing the culture of a whole people group, a whole culture. That's business ownership. That's economics. And so we want to talk about economics. We want to touch on economics. We want to share economics with you. And we want to take, and I want to take I want to demystify it because it's not complicated. But what happens is, because we didn't grow up with these words and this study, some of you did go to college and university and got really good degrees. Some of you got jobs and you went to some of these major corporations and they started you off, and even though you have, six-figure in student loans because you studied it, they started you off with a $50,000 a year job. So you're in debt. So even though you studied it, you didn't get a chance to necessarily partake in it. Okay, and I don't want to bore you with that. But what we want to do is, we're talking about starting black businesses and understanding the language of black businesses. So we have to understand some basics of business. So it's important to understand what economics is. I'm sorry, I'm looking at three screens here. I'm trying to divide my time up between all three. So it's important to understand that it is a social science. Now, social meaning community, science, right? Um, Science means that there's a rhythm to it, there's a system to it. So it's a community system. Is anybody? This is where I wish I got some thumbs up, some hearts, and stuff like that, but that ain't gonna happen. So, and it's not about money; it's about production, creating things, distributing things, and using things. That's what economics is for. So they study us to find out what we like to spend money on. They being those who have mastered economics. Because we think the politicians are in control. The economists are in control. Because they're the ones doing the statistics and understand the hot buttons of each community. Still talking about starting your own business. To start your own business, you have to understand how to attract the right people. There's a book by George Clason called The Richest Man in Babylon that says, listen, and I understand this is the boring part because everybody wants me to talk about the widget, how to sell the widget, how many people you need to talk to get the widget sold. But when you're talking about starting a business, you really have to be more interested in the dynamics of your community that you're looking to serve. You find out what the community wants and you provide it to them. It doesn't just have to be the African American community or black community. You just want to produce a good or a service that will be consumed by someone and earn a profit. And the legacy aspect of that, overcome your fear of relationships and train others to take over various aspects of your idea. Now listen, I would love to repeat that. I'm just kidding. I can if you like. See, because this is not about the widgets and how to sell more widgets, how to sell more jewelry, how to sell more insurance, how to sell more cars, how to sell more whatever, houses, how to flip more this or this. It's not about that. This is about understanding. Look, in the black community, we don't have a problem making money. We have a problem keeping it. We also have trust issues. We have major trust issues in the black community. And because of our trust issues, what's up, David? And because of our trust issues, we get to an age that I'm at right now and that David's at right now. And all that work and all that money we've made, because we've made a lot of money. But unless you understand how to multiply it, which is a business, all that stuff that you've done in the past doesn't mean a hill of beans. In fact, I'll go a step further. Even if you have it, it won't mean a hill of beans later if you don't understand the system. And what is economics? Economics is a social science, which is a community system. Now, listen, I know this stuff is boring because we weren't taught this stuff, but you got to be. And that's the reason why I'm thinking about just putting this on my website and just charging for it and handing out certificates or something. But economics is the study of community systems. In other words, you want to find out what people will buy and give it to them. Then you want to train up people who can move with the times. Once you find the slipstream, train up people who can move with the time. But we got to get rid of our trust issues because we have to be willing to share with other people what we've done to learn how to figure out what people want to buy and sell it to them. That's business. But when you're the one that has to be there selling it, that's not business. That's self-employed. That self-employed is good. Self-employed is wonderful. There are people that have made millions of dollars being self-employed. But again, we're talking about legacy and changing our culture, because on the trajectory that we're on now, the black community will have absolutely no wealth going into the year 2040. In fact, 2030 something. And I keep saying that over and over again because we need to hear it over and over again. Because a lot of people aren't listening to this the first time anyway. So we got two things up now. I just gave you two things. Don't say I didn't give you something. I just gave you two things. You have to overcome the fear of having relationships to depend on, and you have to have a vision that will provide for your community. Some goods, some services. You can go get a job, you can live on your pension, but if taxes go... Have you guys noticed the price of gas? I went to go buy I usually buy I don't know how big it is, but a thing of coffee about yay big for $7, and then I ran out of it after about 2 months or something like that, and I went back, and for $7 I bought a coffee about yay big. It goes by quick. That's called inflation. So you can have your pension. You can have your guaranteed $3,000-$4,000 a month coming in. But if the price of goods are going up every single year, and David makes a good point on Facebook Live. You on YouTube can't see it, but on Facebook Live, David said, white people leave generational wealth to their children. We don't, and I'm with you. Amen. Hey, listen, you may even have that mindset of, I got mine, let them get theirs. But in that mindset, you're shortchanging your last years yourself. That's the way it works. It's connected. Your legacy is connected to your retirement. It's better that you outlive what you have than to run out before you can. I don't want to take the gamble personally. I'm cool on that. I'd rather just go ahead and leave a legacy for my grandkids. That is my business. That's my books that I've written. That's the music that I've produced. That's the videos we're going to put on the website. That's I can't talk about certain things because I have an insurance license. So, that's a whole bunch of things, So So the idea is, if you're really truly interested in leaving generational wealth. Now, wealth is not just money. Wealth, in my opinion, wealth is everything I just said. You know, I think wealth is leaving a legacy of right thinking. You know, my grandkids will never say I wasn't in their life. They're in that room back there. My daughter will never be able to say I wasn't there for her. You know, my stepsons will never say I disappeared. You know, so I think there's a lot to legacy, but we're talking about business ownership. And I have to talk about these things before we get down to selling the widgets and all this other stuff, building a team. Because I hope you guys understand you can't have a business without a team. You know, if you think you can start a business and you don't have a team, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. You know, how are you going to have a business without a team? And how are you going to have a team if you don't trust nobody? How's that going to happen? You know, or you think somebody's stealing from you. You'd be so fortunate to have somebody stealing from you. You got something to steal. You know, we have this bad thinking about things, and that's why I like what George Clason said in The Richest Man in Babylon. He says, proper preparation is the key to our success. You know, you have to get prepared. Preparing means team. And for you Christian folks, like Ms. McCall out there, if you look at the life of Jesus, or any impactful figure at all that did any great thing, don't measure them by their money, measure them by their impact. And if they had great impact, they had a great team. You know, you're so focused on trying to sell widgets, you forget it's all about your team. So I hope you guys are catching this, because this is good stuff. You know, explain to me how you can become McDonald's, Starbucks, Google, Facebook, Alibaba, uh, General Motors, Dell Computers, Bitcoin. How you can become anything that has made major impact. BET, if you want to go there. How you can be Essence Magazine, BET, Ebony Magazine with the Johnson brothers. You know, how can you do anything without having a team of people who have some sort of passion? And by the way, while we're on team, listen, I gotta say all this before I can get down to the starting the business part, because and I'm going to repeat it over and over again. So you know, how are you going? You're not going to attract Bezos to your team. Get over it. Heck, Bezos, when he got started, couldn't attract Bezos to his team. You got to be willing to start raw with raw people. Smart people, maybe with a little intelligence. But you got, you know, don't think you're going to be able to attract people smarter than you. there's a black economist by the name of Thomas Sewell, and I don't want to take him out of context because this was in a book that I've read a while back ago, but he said something that I thought was interesting. When you first get started with your team, don't think your team is going to have all the answers because you ain't got all the answers. You're getting frustrated at your team and you're really getting frustrated at yourself. A good leader is a great servant. And I'm not trying to give you sound bites. This is all truth. You know, so think of it like this. Thomas Stewart said it like this. The problem isn't that Johnny can't read. Something like this. Johnny can't read. The problem is that isn't even that Johnny can't think. The problem is that Johnny doesn't know what thinking is. He's confused. He's confusing it with his feelings. So let me translate that. Until you can remember when we were talking about the word economics. Economics is the basis for building your widget because you know that someone will buy your widget. Johnny is not familiar with your widget or who's going to buy it. He doesn't know what to think yet. He doesn't know. It's not that he doesn't know. You're getting frustrated. You and Johnny have to create a system together. Now, here's your job as the leader. Find out what Johnny's passion is and work towards helping him build his passion, not towards building your kingdom. I'm preaching good. Look, and I saw this in ministry. And I've said this in previous videos as well. The problem is, one problem that we have is when we're starting anything, is we're so centrally focused on trying to build our little kingdoms. You don't realize that the central thing is building the people that are coming to you. Sometimes, I'll put it even plainer. I'll change the thing that I'm building and focus more on the team that I've attracted. I don't have an ego that big. It can't be all about you. Now keep in mind, we're talking about building a business. I'm not talking about being self-employed. I'm not talking about being a good employee. Because being a good employee ain't about you at all, period. You just going there for the job, for the money, for the 401k, whatever. You go in there because you think you got a certain amount of stability. You may or may not like the job. And listen, like I said previously, you need people who want jobs. Now, I look at jobs differently. I look at jobs as apprenticeships. I believe we're all kings, queens, presidents, chairman of boards, what have you. So I want to collaborate with people. I don't want to employ anyone. I don't want to enslave anybody. It's not the goal. The goal is to collaborate with other people and help them to accomplish their best. When you do that, they become endeared to you because you are putting them first. Think about a good marriage. Whether you feel like doing it or not, take care of your woman in the morning. But before you take care of your woman in the morning, you take care of her the night before and the morning before. Whether you feel like whether you feel like it or not, take care of your man. It ain't based on your feelings. I just read you that because I got it up on that screen right there. You confuse things with your feelings. It's not about feelings. It's about systems. It's about creating systems. You know, um, you know, th- life is nothing but a bunch of trade-offs. What does that mean? Because in systems, there is sacrifice and obedience. Still talking about building the business. Without the proper sacrifices, which usually means you're sacrificing for someone else. Um, I have a few clients in one business, and I have many clients in another business. And um, the, the one business where I have a lot of clients, I serve those people even without getting paid for it. Not because I'm trying to impress anyone, because I have a business. And my reputation is more important than me trying to get over on anybody or tell them, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I want to take care of my people. And the business that I have with very few people, which I just started, and I haven't even advertised for it, that business is to the point where I'm going to have to start scheduling people out months in advance. Now, does one have anything to do with the other? The answer is no. But I wonder why, without any advertising, this business over here, now in this business over here, this brand new business, I pay out more money to other people than I get back. So, investing in your business, investing in your team is more important than you focus on your widget. I rather adjust my business model to the quality of team that I have. I really hope you guys get that. And so on that note, I'll quote Marcus Garvey. Some of you guys are familiar with Marcus Garvey if you're my age or older. If you're younger, I'm telling Second Timothy 2:15. Study to show yourself approved. I'm going to give you the information, and I'm going to plant the seed. I'm going to water the seed, but I'm going to ask that you go out. And again, I would love to talk about setting up the business and all. I mean, there's some great stuff we're going to get into, but I have to lay this foundation, and I have to use some of these great people as examples because these are the successful people of our history. We have to recognize, again, another great thing in business. You always recognize those who came before you. It's a spiritual law. Man, I didn't even get a third way through my notes. But you got to get this. Marcus Garvey said this. And I didn't even plan on saying that one. But the ends you serve that are selfish will take you no further than yourself. But the ends you serve that are for all in common will take you into eternity. Now, you can call that eternal life. That's great. But we on earth we call that into legacy. You build your legacy focused in on building your team. The importance of knowing your history is understanding what to improve and what not what to improve by not making the same mistakes. A lot of things, a lot of people in the black community focus in on the destruction of Black Wall Street. If we do it right, we can improve on the advancement of Black Wall Street. All depends on your thinking. Business owners think about it the way I just quoted it, or the way I just said it. Average folks harp on what happened as though that was the end of the game. Business owners play the long game. You got to get your mind right before you can even receive information on how to build a business. Because you'll destroy yourself. People will come into your life there to help you build something, and you'll push them away. There have been many times that I've wanted to share certain things with certain people, that I'm learning from successful people who are multimillionaires and they've built successful franchises, and I get excited and I want to share this information with people that I know. And say, look, this is what I just found out. And because they don't understand the language, not because they don't love me, they don't, maybe they think I'm cray-cray, which I probably am a little bit. But, I've from the books you read, from the people you're around, from the things that you notice, if you step outside of yourself and your lustful thinking, you can tell what works in building something that you have never had before. But you have to be pretty selfless. A book that I refer to everyone is a book called E-Myth. And listen, I really think you should be writing some of this stuff down if you're looking to build a business. Now, if you want to be self-employed, it doesn't matter because this is not for you. If you're going to keep your job and that's what you want to do, this is not for you. But if you truly want to build a business, some of you folks are natural born leaders, but you're leading people into a hole. Because you refuse to get rid of your pride, whatever. And you're constantly frustrated because you know what you want to do, but you can't do it. And then you want to blame somebody else, but you really understand that it's you. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business. You have a job. That's from the book, The E-Myth Revisited. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. Now listen, I read that book years ago, but I remembered that. It says, added Patricia Click. Big sis, did you want to say something? Can you say something? I think it says it's adding you. I don't know how that works. We're about to find out. Listen, the time goes by so quick. I haven't even gotten to step 2 yet, or step 3 yet. I'm still in step 2. Building a team. Step three is community. Communing with that team. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Yeah, we'll talk about that one later. Because communing with the team by itself is a class. That's eating together, going to baseball games for certain folks, playing golf for certain other folks. Let me see if I can bring you on camera. Let me see. Can I bring you on camera? Let's see. It says I can't bring Patricia on camera. Sorry, big sis. It won't let me bring you on camera there. But listen. So we got to keep that one for another time. But until that time, you have to release your fears. If you're fearful, you will draw fearful people. And listen, stop thinking that you have to have all the answers. That's not the way success works. Success doesn't work by you having all the answers. Success works by creating a team that can manage all the problems. I really want to say that one again. Success is managing all the problems. And you can't manage all the problems by yourself. You have to have a team to manage all the problems. Because you can't wish problems away. Oh man, where's that quote? I hope I have that quote here somewhere. Talking about problems are powerful. You want problems. Now, some of you guys are going to disagree with me, and you haven't studied yet. You got to study. You want problems. I hope I have that here somewhere. And I don't think I do. But here's one way to put it. And this is gonna this is gonna mess with some of you Christian folks. The basic difference between an ordinary man and a warrior is that a warrior takes everything as a challenge, while an ordinary man takes everything as either a blessing or a curse. Listen, every tough situation is not a curse. For you biblical people, when David's son went after him and David went off into the woods, that was a personal choice. Do you think he wanted to go off into the woods? No. But he had experience in the woods. He knew he could live in the woods again. That's type and shadow for having everything and losing everything. Because it's not about the money. He didn't go into the woods by himself. He went with his team. Why'd they go with him? Because they know he can do it again. There's a great missionary by the name of Lester Summerall. You should look him up. Him and his wife, Lester Summerall was a very, very wealthy man of God. Comfortable. Let's just call him comfortable. Every 10 years or so, he would walk away from everything and start from scratch. Including his private plane. How many of you would do that? No, work hard, get a private plane, and say, you know what? I'm giving away the house, the private plane, the cars. You're just going to start all over again with nothing. But he didn't give away his team. He just gave away the stuff. because you can get it back again. You know, so my point is, a couple things that we talked about. So let me recap. Because so I don't listen, and I don't want you to say that I didn't give you anything. I did give you 2 points today. Uh, the first thing I gave you was we focused in on economics. What economics is? Economics is not money. You got look up the definition. If you're not looking up the definition yet, you should look up the definition. I'm I'm asking you to challenge me. Because if you're going to be successful in business, you have to know some basic business things that are taught in some of these schools that we didn't go to. Economics is not the study of money. Economics is a social science. It is the study of people groups so that you know what they're consuming, how to produce it, and how to get it to them. Now, we know we yeah, we know street economics. Except we don't call it street economics. It's a different language. It's a different language. It's just a different language. It's a different language. So we talked about economics. We also talked about the importance of overcoming your fears in dealing with a team. All you folks that say you can't trust nobody. No, you just haven't talked to enough people. You don't trust yourself. You haven't talked to enough people with the right motives. And when I say enough people with the right motives, I'm talking about you. You haven't talked to enough people having the right motives. It's not the people's fault. The fault squarely lies on our shoulders. If something, remember Judas? For you Christian folks, no one's perfect. Even the strongest of people make mistakes. So it's not about finding the perfect people. It's about finding the perfect people for your team. And then it's about getting over your unrealistic expectations of what you think they should be doing. And how you think they should respond or react to things when you're not in their head and you're not dealing with what they're dealing with. And listen, and with your secretive self, they don't know what you're dealing with either. And you're the leader. And transparency is a key to good leadership. I don't have any quotes on that, but just trust me, it's true. And don't trust me, look it up. Look it up. But listen, if you can't be transparent as a leader, you will not be a good leader. You'd be better off being self-employed. Because you have to trust less people as being self-employed. But when you're a good leader, good leaders serve their people and allow their people to be human, make mistakes, and not only that, They're in the trenches with them when they make the mistakes, and they also grow with their team. Because if you do it together as a team, what you'll find is that that mistake will not happen. If it happens again, it won't happen often. Because they're truly more interested in being a part of a team that is concerned about their well-being than concerned about their widgets. And that's the truth. So if you're going to build a business, you have to understand your economics, the economics of the community that you're looking to serve, and you have to build a great team, which means you have to get over the fear of loss, of gain, of embarrassment, or whatever, so that you can succeed at just getting started, because you cannot build a business before first having a good team.